Okay, let's do a couple more. All right, so let's do this one. We've got 8 over x minus 2 plus x minus 34 over x squared minus 4. That was a weird looking 2, but that's a 2. All right. So now, what we want to do is we want to get a common denominator, right? Our problem here, though, is that this one kind of looks like this one, right? But like, I'm not gonna. It's gonna get really messy if I try to multiply both sides by like x minus 2 and x squared minus 4. I want to see if there's anything common in these, and right there, this is one that kids always miss. This is a difference of squares, right? So we can factor that one. So I'm going to write it all again, but I'm going to factor that bottom one. So we'll say 8 over x minus 2 plus x minus 34 over, and then remember the way we factor a difference of squares, we can just throw our brackets down, and then it's the square root of both of them, right? So they both get an x, square root of that one, right, for both of them, and then the square root of the other one, so that's going to be 2 for both. So 2 and 2, and then one's a plus, one's a minus. Okay, so now this makes my life a little bit easier, because if I'm looking for a common denominator, right, I'm looking for things that this, right, and this go into. Well, what if I just multiplied this side by what's missing, right? An x plus 2. And then the top by x plus 2, right? Now they are the same, right? The bottom here looks like the bottom there. They're the same, right? So now we can keep going here. I typically like to write my bottom out first, so I'm going to write my denominator here. So it'll be x plus 2, x minus 2, right? That's what it's all going to be over in the end. And then we just have to simplify the top, right? So in the top here now I've got, well, I'm going to put the 8 out front. I typically like to write it this way. It'll be 8 times x plus 2 plus, and then I've got x minus 34 still. Okay, now just simplifying the top is all we can do at this point. So I'm going to distribute the 8 into that one. So I've got 8x plus 16 plus x minus 34. Okay, and then collect like terms. So we've got 8x plus x, so that's going to be 9x. Oh, actually, and sorry, we should have written the bottom out again. So x plus 2, x minus 2. All right. And then collecting like terms in the top, we're going to have 9x, 9x, and then 16 minus 34 is going to be negative 18. So negative 18 over, and then we've got x plus 2, x minus 2. All right, so then you might say, okay, good, we're done, right? We did everything Mr. Brown said. But you can actually factor the top still. You can see that there's a 9 and an 18, right? And 9 goes into both those numbers. So that means I can factor out a 9. Let's see what happens when we do that. So if we factor out a 9 out of that, we'll have 9, and then start a bracket, and then you just have what's left, right? So you have x minus, and then 18 divided by the 9 we took out, that's 2. And that's working out well. So it'll be x plus 2, x minus 2, and then x minus 2 cancels with x minus 2. So in the end here, that simplified a lot. Now we've just got 9 over x plus 2. Okay, one more. All right, so we've got x minus 5 over x minus 1 minus, and then negative 3x minus 17 over x squared plus 3x minus 4. Okay, so what should we always do first? We got to factor, right? We got to see what we're dealing with. So nothing to factor in the first term, so I'll just write that again. So we've got x minus 5 over x minus 1 minus, and then, yeah, you know what? I'm not going to factor the top yet. Typically, you just want to factor the bottom. We could if you want to. It just, we'd have to do it. We have to undo it a little bit later. So I'm just going to leave that one for now. I just want to see what my common denominator is, right? That's why I got to factor the bottom first. So I've got negative 3x minus 17 over, and then, well, sorry, you couldn't factor the top anyway. What am I talking about? Okay, so then you got x squared plus 3x minus 4. So I'm going to throw my brackets down. And then I've got, well, it's one of these ones, right, where you've got an x squared, an x, and then a constant term. So the way we do those is you can throw an x down in both of them, right? And then we're looking for two numbers, and the numbers need to multiply to negative 4 and add to 3. Okay, so what about 4 and 1? Okay, people always forget that one. So 4 and 1, they need to multiply to a negative. So that means one's got to be negative, one's got to be positive. Right? So the only way this is going to work out properly is this is positive 4 and negative 1, right? Because I need to add to positive 3. And 4 minus 1 gets me there. Okay? So there we go. Now, that worked out nice, right? Because I can see I've got x minus 1 and x minus 1 already. That's common to both. So all that needs to be added here, right, to get my common denominator is going to be x plus 4 on this side. And they both get an x plus 4. Okay? So now, like I said, I like to write out my common denominator first, right, which really was just that. So that'll be x minus 1 times x plus 4. And then I'm going to clean up the top, but really just so I can see what I'm dealing with here. First step, I'm just going to write the whole top out, right, just this whole top line. So that'll be x plus 4 times x minus 5, and then minus. And then, yeah, this part's a little weird, like minus, and then the negatives just kind of like hanging out in front there. Really, it should be like this. It'd be minus, then in brackets, right? Like all of this stuff up top is really in brackets. It's just implied the way it was written there. So in brackets, minus 3x minus 17. Okay, so that's a mess with a bunch of brackets up top, right? So I gotta clean that up. So this first one here, I've got to do FOIL, right? I've got to expand that one out. So I should have 4 terms from that one. So what do we get? We got x times x, that first line there, right? That's x squared. And then x times negative 5, that's going to be negative 5x. And then the next arrow here, 4 times x is positive 4x. And then 4 times negative 5 is negative 20. Okay, so that handled that first part. Now this one, if you remember, we've got a minus in front of all these ones. You can think about this two ways. We're subtracting all of this, right? So really subtracting these negatives would be the same as adding them, right? You can think about adding it. Or you can think about it this way. Pretend this is like a negative 1 out front. And then we would just have to distribute into both of those, right? Either way, what's going to happen here is all the signs are going to switch, right? So all these negatives will turn to positives there. So we're going to have plus 3x and then plus 17. And I know it's annoying, but we're going to write the whole bottom, the bottom part again here, just so we don't lose track of it. So we've got x minus 1, x plus 4. Okay, next step, we're going to clean this up. We're going to just collect all of our like terms. So we've got x squared, and then right there, right, we've got negative 5x plus 4, that's negative 1, plus 3x, that's 2x. So positive 2x, right? That was just adding up the negative 5, the 4, and the 3 for the x's there, right? Okay, and now for my constant term here, we've got negative 20 and 17. So that's going to end up giving me still negative 3 over x minus 1, x plus 4. All right, now I'd say, yes, we're done, but we're not, because there's these two terms sitting down here too, and this is like a little hint for me that I wonder if I could cancel one of those, right? You know, like oftentimes this will work, that something will work out where you can cancel part of your bottom if the question is kind of like a nice one. And this one will be like that too. We're going to be able to factor the top, and hopefully, really, I'm looking for one of these numbers so I can cancel it. So let's see if that happens. So factoring the top, I'm just going to write my brackets down. And they both get an X. And I'm looking for numbers that multiply to negative 3 and add to 2. So it's got to be 3 and 1 are the only numbers that multiply to 3. And they have to multiply to a negative. So one's got to be negative, one's got to be positive, and they have to add the positive 2. So this has to be plus 3 and minus 1. Okay, that's a good sign. And then over x minus 1, x plus 4. Okay, and then you can probably see it from here, right? We've got x minus 1 up top, x minus 1 in the bottom. So in the end, this is x plus 3 over x plus 4.